What if I told you that the reason why you aim at your goal and miss it is not because of your skill, but it's because of your strategy? Would you lean in? Would you listen? Would you lock in? Well, that's why I want to talk today about 3D vision, how to see it and seize it. I'm going to get you right today. I'm going to get you straight to where you're not just going to see the goal. You're going to be able to seize the goal. You're going to be able to reach the goal. One of those particular aspects, when I understand about that, it is what Carpe Diem said. It is the quote, the Latin quote, Carpe Diem, which says, you have to seize the moment. You have to seize the moment. And you don't just seize the moment necessarily with skill, you seize the moment with will. Beyond even just skill and will, you seize the moment with strategy. And one of those particular aspects is so many times we see the opportunity, we see the glass ceiling, but we're never able to reach it. We're never able to grasp it. We're never able to get to it. I saw something the other day that I thought was rather peculiar, rather interesting, and it said someone with half your IQ is making 10 times as you because they aren't smart enough to doubt themselves. Someone with half your IQ is making 10 times more than you because they're smart enough not to doubt themselves. And we can't doubt ourselves and when it comes to what it is that we've been gifted. We can't doubt ourselves with what it is that we can provide to the marketplace. We cannot doubt ourselves when it comes to now giving value to those who need what it is that we have. In order to do that, we have to, number one, discover it. If you're going to see it, if you're going to seize it, you have to discover it. And a lot of people, we see it. We see the opportunity, but we never do seize it. We never do hit the goal, right? We don't hit the goal because we have not necessarily discovered who it is that we are first. Before you ever discover your purpose, you got to discover who you are as a person. Before you ever discover your purpose, you have to discover who you are as a person. Who are you as a person at your core? What do you want? What were you created for? Where are you going? Who do you want coming with you? What are your intangibles? What are the truths that you've been able to extrapolate from your traumas? Who is it that you are at your core? What is the passion? What is the purpose? What were you placed on this planet to do? Who were you called to? Right? Because you're not just for everybody, you're for the right type of individuals. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And so when you know your vibe, when you now attract your tribe, what is it that you're going to add value to your tribe? What type of value will you be adding? Will you be adding any value at all? I have to be strategic, right? I have to formulate a system. A system is saving yourself time, energy, money. So it's not that people plan to fail, they just fail to plan. So I need to be thinking about all of these particular factors when it comes to what it is that I want to provide to those who are looking for me to show up in the marketplace. And when I show up, it ought to be about more than just what I'm wearing. It ought to be about who I'm becoming. But if you have not spent the time on who it is that you're becoming, what you're wearing won't even matter. Because when you open up your mouth, people are going to say, oh, okay, we don't see any value that's coming out of there. They don't have anything to enrich us with. They don't have anything to empower us by. And so beyond what you're wearing is about who you're becoming, simply because you cannot behave beyond what you believe. You cannot really strive to get to a particular place where you have not evolved into beyond your potential. The question is, what is your pattern of operation? Beyond your potential, what is your pattern? Because many of us have stored up potential, but we got to make that potential kinetic energy. We have to get on the move. And the only way that we get on the move is if we move ourselves out of the way and discover what it is that we can provide to others. You were created to do something. You were created to now empower somebody. You were created to develop a transformative revolution. But before you ever do that externally, it first begins internally. Where's the transformative revolution going to take place in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit that hits your head, your heart, your hands, and ultimately your house? When you discover who you are as a person, now it taps into you being able to discover your purpose. Job is what you're paid for. Your calling and your purpose is what it is that you're made for. Do you know what it is that you are made for? Beyond just making money, beyond just paying bills, beyond just doing all of the other aspects of what everybody else is doing, do you know what it is that you were called to do? And when you know it, why aren't you doing it? Knowing who you are as a person, knowing your purpose should now put you in divine alignment with your assignment. It should put you in alignment with your divine assignment. So that now, after discovery comes development. You should discover it. You should now develop it. You're aware of who you are as a person. You're aware of your purpose. Now, how are you cultivating that? How are you developing? How are you developing yourself? How are you developing it? Socrates put it this way. Socrates said, "He who wants to change the world must first change himself." What changes are you engaged in? How are you developing your skills? How are you developing your skill set? Right? How are you cultivating who it is that you are? Cultivating your intelligence. You do that by reading. You do that by writing. Cultivating your physical aspect and or your body, getting in the right shape. You do that in the gym. You do that in the kitchen by eating the right type of food. But it also moves you into a particular place of recovery and restoration, so that now certain things can be synthesized, so that you can now be able to process what is taking place, what is going on. In order to do that, here's what you got to do. You got to give yourself some homework. And I want to give you some homework. Dr. Eddie, what are you talking about? Yeah, I want to give you some homework. I'm sure I'm talking to some note takers today, but here's some homework for you. I want you to give your mind an assignment each and every single day. I want you to give your mind an assignment. What is the assignment? To innovate and create. That's what I want you to do. Give your mind an assignment each and every single day to innovate, to create, to say, when you go to your job, what can I do to add value today? When you step into the gym, what can I do if I'm working with a client to add value today? When you're on social media and you're posting, what is it that you can do to add value today? You may be a person who is an employee, but what are you going to do today to think like an entrepreneur? You may be a person who's an employee, but what are you going to do today to think like an employer? To where you're not just clocking in just to do your job, but you say, listen, I want to go behind the scenes. I want to go beyond just the scope of it. I want to think like those who are in administration. What are those in HR thinking about? I want to think like, yes, an entrepreneur, but even an intrapreneur. I want to adopt the mindset of an entrepreneur while working within the company. That's what an entrepreneur is going to do. They're going to adopt the mind of an entrepreneur while working within the company, because an entrepreneur wants to get to know all the nuts and bolts of how this particular organization operates. An entrepreneur is an innovator. An entrepreneur now shifts the needle. You need to be thinking. You need to be thinking better in order to innovate better. You need to be thinking, how can I create? How can I innovate? How can I not just do my job, but do my job with such precision to where now I become a person who totally stands out? I cannot be ignored. And because I cannot be ignored, here's what I have to be. I have to be promoted. I have to be elevated. I have to now be teaching other employees. I have to now be teaching my coworkers. I have to now be teaching those who are a part of my organization, part of my church, a part of my stream of thinking and my sphere of influence to say, what is it that I need to be saying in this particular business meeting? I don't want to just be sitting in there quiet, but I want my voice to take up space. How can I show up better? You see these types of questions? These are the types of questions that are going to be strategic to move the needle forward. You see the goal, you got the aim, but you're not hitting the target. These are the reasons why, right? Asking better questions now lends you better results. How can I communicate better? What can I tweak? How can I strengthen where it is that I'm weak? Right? You can be doing a job without developing who it is that you are in your calling. And fulfilling your calling, fulfilling who it is that you are goes beyond an occupation. It's about your vocation. It becomes your vocation when you've tapped into personal identity, personal transformation, developing your skill set, developing yourself as a speaker, developing yourself as a leader, developing who it is that you are totally, holistically. All of these aspects now move you into a place of what I'm talking about, which is development. Talking about 3D vision. 3D vision, how to not just see it, but how to seize it. You want the promotion, you want the opportunity, but what are you doing to garner the attention to say, I'm going to stand out so much that everybody's lens has to now shift in my direction? Because I'm not subtracting, I'm adding. You're not dividing, you're multiplying. And based upon the adding and the multiplying, here's what you're doing now. You're now uniting. You're now causing people to collaborate with one another. All of this now moves you into a place of contribution, not contention. Last but not least, when we're talking about 3D vision, one of those other entities that we have to focus on. Yes, we've got discovery. Yes, we've got developing. We have to discover it. Yes, we have to develop it. But here's the thing, we also have to deploy ourselves into it. 3D vision calls you to discover it, develop it. Now deploy it. Got the discovery, you got the development, but there's also got to be a deployment of it. Deployment says, I have to move from this particular level to another level. But in order to do that, I have to now be strategic about the next step that I take, simply because I don't want psychological pain, emotional incarceration, stinking thinking that keeps you sulking and sinking, scarcity mindset to get in the way of your next level. You have to deal with the emotional snipers. What am I talking about? The invisible things that you cannot see, that oftentimes eviscerate your self-esteem. It negates your integrity. It negates your character development. It kills your progress. It stifles your momentum. It overrides your joy. It delineates your peace. It eradicates your who you are personally and spiritually and socially and emotionally and relationally and psychologically, and yes, even financially. What are the things that are sniping you? Because here's the thing, what it is that is sniping you will stop you from developing the gifts that are on the inside of you. You've done all the discovery, you've done all the development. But now when it's time to aim, you stifled it. You're stifled. You stifle yourself. You talk yourself out of what God wants you to step into. It's kind of like a ready, aim, 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 aim. But you never do hit the target. You never do make the move of where it is that you can go to another level to aspire higher to. Deploying says, I have to look at all of the things that are now going to trip me up when I'm now taking that step towards truth and transformation. Have to get rid of that. The bad habits, the deleterious things that are to your destiny, the type of people that are now pulling you back into what you've been delivered from, what you've grown out of, the small boxes that people try to put you in, that now you're going to break those boxes rather than returning back to those boxes. and to now boldly take the step to say, somebody needs what I have. Let me show up in the marketplace. Somebody needs what I have. Let me deliver in this organization. Somebody needs what I have. Somebody's waiting for me to become who I am so they can become who they're supposed to be. I will not stop the progress, and I will not get in the way of my purpose. That's what deployment says. Deployment says I'm going to be a soldier. Deployment says I'm going to stand 10 toes down. Deployment says I'm going to create guardrails. Deployment says I'm going to build healthy boundaries so that I don't stop me from getting to where I need to be, so that you don't move into a place of self-sabotage. You've been called to do something different. You've been called to be a nonconformist. You've been called to color outside the lines. You've been called to do something different, to get something different. You've been called to change the game. Why? Because if you don't take change by the hand, change is going to take you by the throat. If you don't evolve, you won't be involved. It's time for you to be a trendsetter, a trailblazer, a mover and a shaker, a history maker, record breaker, a trendsetter, a trailblazer. This is the time for you to have 3D vision, not just linear, but panoramic, to see beyond what you see and to transform your reality. It's time to see it, and it's time to seize it. Take hold of it and walk into your next level. Not only will you walk, but I guarantee you're going to soar. You're going to soar if and when you join the most transformative online community. The most transformative online community is where I'm coaching, is where I'm teaching, is where I'm training, is where I'm mentoring, that you need to be a part of if you're going to move into a greater place of harnessing and accessing your 3D vision. Now's the time to hit the goal. And I'm going to show you how to do that even more so than where I'm teaching right now. This is just a sneak peek snapshot preview, but I want to take you into our amazing Zoom room on our online, in our online portal, in our online community each and every single week. Go right now to theeaglesacademy.com. I want you to enroll. I want you to enroll right now so that you can be in a community of gifted leaders who are being coached, who are being mentored, who are being trained, who are actually getting results, transformative results each and every single week. Theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the Join Now button, fill out the form. I guarantee you're going to be transformed. Theeaglesacademy.com. Family, were you transformed by this conversation? I hope so. I know so. Yeah. We've had a healthy conversation. I want you to send a love donation to Cash App, $Dr. Eddie Ministries. The work that I'm doing, not just online, but also offline. That's where I'm coaching, teaching, training, mentoring people, especially our young brothers in the community through my Boys to Books program, focusing on literacy development, which is so needed, which is so necessary, feeding our community, serving as the pastor of the Remnant Worshipers Ministry in the city of Detroit. I want you to be a part by giving, even right now, on Cash App, $Dr. Eddie Ministries. Your giving helps me to give in a greater way. Even on PayPal, info@EddieConnor.com, and on Zelle, EddieConnorJr @gmail.com. Link is in the chat. Link is in the description of this video for how and where to give. Family, hit the thumbs up button on this video. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I've been growing your greatness. Help me to grow our channel for change that creates change, that breaks chains. I really appreciate your support. Follow me on all the social sites as well. Social media @EddieConnorJr. Put some respect on my name, family. EddieConnorJr. Appreciate all the love, the support, and your donations and your viewership. Really, truly means a whole lot. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. Yes, write in the comment section, write 3D vision. If this resonated with you, type 3D vision. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. You know I gotta go, but I want you to know it's yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand. Yo, brother. And I mean that from another mother. Family has been fun, but you know, brother, gotta run. So I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. But I want you, yes, you, to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, brighter. Peace and a whole lot of love. Keep soaring higher.